The unthinkable has happened. Bashar al-Assad, who ruled Syria with an iron fist for decades, has fallen. But how did it come to this? What caused the collapse of one of the most brutal regimes in modern history? Welcome to this video where we unpack the shocking story of Assad's downfall and the chaos that followed. To understand the fall, we must revisit the rise. Bashar al-Assad inherited power after the death of his father, Hafez al-Assad, in 2000. He promised reform but delivered repression. His regime thrived on fear, silencing opposition and controlling every aspect of Syrian life. But cracks in his rule appeared in 2011 during the Arab Spring. What started as a peaceful protest turned into a bloody civil war. Assad's regime held on for years until now. So why now? Assad's fall didn't happen overnight. A combination of factors brought his regime to its knees. Years of war left Syria's economy in ruins. People couldn't afford basic necessities, and the regime could no longer sustain itself. Key generals turned against Assad, leaving his army fragmented and weakened. Sanctions and the global condemnation isolated Assad, cutting off resources and support. And perhaps most crucially, the Syrian people never gave up. They fought for freedom, even when the odds seemed impossible. Let's not ignore the elephant in the room: foreign intervention. For years, Assad relied on allies like Russia and Iran, but as his grip weakened, even they couldn't save him. Russia scaled back its support, focusing on its own conflicts, while Iran faced economic strain. Meanwhile, opposition groups received increasing backing from Western nations. As always, Assad was not just fighting his own people. He was caught in a global chess game where he became extendable. With Assad gone, what's next for Syria? The country is at a crossroads. Will it descend further into chaos, or will it rebuild? The power vacuum left by Assad has already led to infighting among opposition groups, and foreign powers are cycling like vultures. But amid the uncertainty, there is hope. Syrians are determined to reclaim their country. The world must now ask itself, will it stand by and watch, or will it help Syria rebuild? Let's address the shocking truth about Assad's exile. After years of brutal rule and final collapse of his government, where does a dictator go when he is no longer welcome in his own country? The answer: Russia. Yes, Bashar al-Assad has reportedly sought refuge in Moscow. Think about it. Russia, his longtime ally, the very country that propped up his regime for years with weapons, military advisors, and political backing, is now his safe haven. But is this a reward for loyalty or a way to silence him forever? Assad's arrival in Russia raises many questions. Did Vladimir Putin orchestrate this exile to keep control of Syria's narrative? Afterwards, An exiled Assad is far less dangerous than one who stays and peels secrets about Russia's deep involvement in the Syrian war. Some experts believe Putin's Kremlin would rather keep Assad alive but quiet than risk having him captured or killed by international forces, which could expose years of shady deals, war crime, and covert operations. But don't be fooled into thinking Assad is living in luxury. Reports suggest he is under tight surveillance with limited freedom. He is not a freeman. He is a pawn. Imagine being a leader of a nation only to end up as a political prisoner in another country. Controversial? Absolutely. Putin isn't just protecting Assad. He is protecting himself and Russia's image as a dominant global power. And let's not forget the irony here. Assad spent decades portraying himself as a strongman, a defender of Syria's sovereignty. Yet now he is a guest, or rather a hostage in Russia. Some say this is a poetic justice, but others argue it's a strategic move. If Assad is in Russia, he's far from the international courts that want to try him for war crimes. Once again, the elite protect their own. Even more controversial is what this exile means for Syria. Assad's departure doesn't just symbolize the fall of the regime. It signals a shift in global power dynamics. Russia now holds the keys to Syria's future. Will it rebuild the country in its image, or will this exploit Syria's resources and people for its own gain? Assad might have escaped for now, but the Syrian people are left to pick up the pieces of nation he destroyed. So I ask you, is Assad's exile in Russia a clever escape, or is this the ultimate humiliation for a dictator who once ruled with absolute power? And more importantly, will the world allow Russia to rewrite the narrative of what really happened in Syria? The story of Assad's exile is still unfolding and is as much about global politics as it's about one man's downfall. The truth is, dictators rarely face the justice they deserve. They flee to friendly territories protected by the very powers that help them stay in control. Assad in Russia isn't just the headline. It's a symbol of how broken the global system truly is. What do you think? Should Assad be handed over to face international justice, or does his exile mark the end of his story? Let me know in the comments below. Bashar al-Assad regime is no more, but the story of Syria is far from over. This is a defining moment, not just for the Middle East, but for the world. What do you think? Will Syria rise from the ashes, or is this just the beginning of a new chapter of chaos? Let me know in the comments. And if you find this video thought-provoking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep this conversation alive. See you next time.